Hi everyone, it's Raybo, and I'm getting ready here to post up Bags 2.0, and I've simplified some parts of it quite a bit, and I wanted to kind of introduce everyone to the new format. There was a lot of visitors to Bag 1, and Bags 2 is just to kind of be more organized and compound on it. The biggest change to Bags 2 from Bags 1 is that I've moved the Conqueror installation with the pre-builds to the section 3 here of the vault exit. So when you get to the elevator chamber, that's where I recommend you install the Conqueror pre-built, the Conqueror, just, go out of the game and enable Conqueror, and then you'll get the flash screen with the selections, and you just stay in the elevator chamber until you get all the confirmations back from the game that all the pre-builts are done, and then you exit to the vault. So everything marked in 0, step 0, is starting a new game. One is after you get through the mirror and you do all the making yourself pretty and stuff, then you save your game, you exit out, and you enable everything in step 2. And then you get to the floor of the cryo chamber. And why I say the floor of the cryo chamber is a lot of the mods that I have here are dialogue based, like player comments and head tracking. And those don't do so well in the pre-war world. But once you get into the cryo chamber, they add a lot of content. So I recommend most of those mods get installed in the cryo chamber. 3 is reserved for Conqueror and the pre-builds. So if you don't do pre-builds, you can probably install that somewhere else. Most of the Sim Settlement mods, add-ons are installed here in step 1, and Sim Settlements is in step 0. The 3-in-1. Of course, step 4 is the vault exit, and it is when you're up top, and it's all those scripted mods and holotapes and uninstall chems, all those type of mods. And one thing I will caution you is that I put the settlement menu manager here in step 0. And I know that that'll cause the holotape not to spawn, and ideally you could put that down here, but I've even myself experienced too many times when I've waited to install the settlement menu manager, and whether it's Para's Gravedigger or Creative Gardens, I've installed them sooner and then had menus that weren't filled right, populated right, because I didn't have the settlement menu manager mod installed when I needed to activate those. So I suggest you put it right up front and then console in the holotape after you enable these. And then of course 5 is just later in the game. For various reasons, I suggest that some mods can wait, and one of them is the castle and by Hosa. And I wait till after the battle with Sarge. There's also some that initiate radio quest starts, and some of those, what I suggest is you can have problems with the radio initiating the quest sequence. Not all the time, but sometimes. So some of those mods have flagged that you can. It's better to wait, and then when you activate those, you can go ahead and listen to the radio message right away, so you don't need to worry about them getting glitched. Now, the bulk of what I've done here is I'm going to post links to this, and it is to this document and then to this folder, because I'm going to post a bunch of other stuff here over the coming weeks, videos and other resources, into the thread. And so I have a folder here so you can grab all those different documents. So this first link is to this file right here, which is what you'll kind of need. And then future documents will be in this second link. And I'll briefly take you guys through this. And I know this Excel file looks a little daunting. Here's the plugin. Here's the Vortex load order number. Here is what I call hemispheres, and I wanted something simple so people with short load orders, if you just used loot and then question where loot was putting something, you could look at these hemispheres and have just basically 5 categories where you could see that it's top automatic for the master files, mostly automatic. You might want to do a little shuffling here. Above center of mass, and below center of mass. So if you're not using VisG or better locational damage, you probably won't have too many in these patch sections. So next I'm going to show you guys what I call speed dial, and if you set up your Vortex groups right, you can set a speed dial number, and then I'll show you what that means. And then the Vortex group, the plugin, chains I'm still working on, but you'll kind of get the drift here when we talk about that later. And then the bags, which is in the intro here, is when I install those mods and layer them in. So the nice thing about Excel is if I want to see just what I'm installing after I leave the vault later in the game, I can just do a quick sort and see which ones I'm installing later. So it's just an organizational tool to help you guys out. If you want to see how I start a new game, you can click 0, and you can see the mods I use to start a new game. Now I'm not intending, there's plugins here, and I think right now I have 470 plugs, but I have a bunch of other mods that are plugless. So I have approximately 484 mods. I do some weird stuff with my mods that kind of make it hard to count. I'll show that real quick because it's an important part of setting up your game. And what I do here is, the first thing I do is I package all the Creation Club files, I archive them, and then I install them into my mod manager so they look like this, so I can control which ones I have installed, so that I have a way to enable them and disable them. So you just drop them here after you've archived them like this, and yeah, I recommend when you do that, a quick way to do it is just make another profile and install them one at a time, and then see which ones are which, and then pull them out, put them in a folder, archive them, and then reinstall them so you have a way to activate and deactivate them. The other thing I do is I go in and I have 3 main basic groups that I get from patches. It's snips, ruses, and lost. And I do the same thing here. I grab all the, because I don't like the installers they use, so I grab all the patches that I want to use for my load order. I put them into one folder, archive them, date them, and then I install them into my game, which kind of convolutes, you know, you have one mod and then you have X number of plugs, but then you also go over here and you have a bunch of individual ones that have no plugs, but they're mods. So who knows how many mods I have installed, but here is a quick reference of what I am using behind the scenes so you guys can see that. And I have a few of the authors here, but the links are here. The Vault Dweller mod list, right in the index, their index is a group, what I recommend most users use as groups. And literally it's their index. So when I created my load order list here, I went through and removed all my previous groups. I hit reset, don't do it now, and cleared them all out. So the only vanilla one I am using is default. All the rest of the ones I created at one time, and I created an index like this using the numbers I wanted to use. I wanted to start at 0001. And I went through and did them all in sequence to create my groups. Now what this allows me to do is when you have a lot of mods, even if you don't have a lot of mods, it allows you to set up something like, let's say I want to change workshop rearrange to something else. Right now it's at 03. I can go in here and I could put it at 17. And as long as I know the number, I can quickly change those groups. So instead of having to sort through all these different categories, you add 26 to this, it can get a little cumbersome because you can't take out these vanilla ones. I just put a numbering system in so they're all done from top to bottom. So you got to do all that at once. So when you go in and create your groups, you have to literally start with, I'll make it bigger here, 00 DLC, 00 Creation Club. And you create them by just adding a group here. I'm not going to add any here. But you just follow your index and create them chronologically. And that way you have them in order. Now let's say you create one that's say change replacers and you go on to 8, 9, 10, and you finish it and you realize, oh shoot, I need to add another group in there between those two. Well, unfortunately, it's going to be after the last one you put in. That's what I mean, you need to input these chronologically. It isn't going to sort them alphanumerically. You have to put them in that way. So that's that next tab. And then as a quick cross-reference, one of the things that I've done is I used Loot to sort everything here after I got rid of all the groups. And then I just moved the mods that made the most sense for me in my load order. Now, there's certain mods like Gambit obviously knows all the VizG and the Armorsmith extended. I have King Gath's mod list here, and I have Thuggy Smith's one from his recent suggested load order. I trust, and when I say chains, I'm talking about Thuggy Smith knows these quest mods. Excuse me, Thuggy Smith. Thuggy Smurf knows these. So I want to follow his chain when I'm installing that sequence of mods. Same for Gambit. He has certain mods that in there that I kind of want to follow his chain. And I may not have the exact mods, but the sequence of those mods and basically where they're fitting in the load order match mine. So I've cross-referenced those guys with my mods, created this load list, put them into groups that I've indexed from the Vault Dwellers mod list, and I'm still working on the chains. And And I've showed you with bags here, you can quickly sort these using this Excel file. The last thing here, and this is somewhat a precursor to what I'm working on, is going into a little bit of depth here with my innies. So I've posted my innies in this file. So if you have a question on your innies, you can go in and check this out. I still have some work I want to do on this, and so it's a very preliminary. I'm not suggesting you go through and cut and paste my innies at any point, but it does let you quickly see that if you're not seeing a problem, you can go cross-reference mine, and maybe you'll see something there. So anyway, that's the new Bags 2 file that I'm putting up. And of course I'm going to have, just like before, a lot of videos and a lot of other reference material to help you guys install the game and have a good time with Sim Settlements and Fallout 4. So thank you for watching, and hope this helps. Bye-bye.